Hello everybody, welcome to Bad Big Games. I'm your host Joseph. Today we're going to talk about Microsoft in the year of 2017, where they took the Xbox brand and where we think they're going to take it in 2018. Did they have a good year? Did they have a bad year? Let's give them a report card, shall we? Now, before we get into it, I talked about Nintendo, I talked about PlayStation in the year 2017, so this is kind of ending our conversation on that. And with that said, we talked about Nintendo and PlayStation this year in terms of games. I think the first thing we talked about were games. I feel like Nintendo and PlayStation did an excellent job of rolling off exclusives, making deals with third parties to make sure that, games like Nier were only available on the PlayStation brand. Games like Persona 4, or Persona 5 rather, only on PlayStation. Games like Hellblade, only on PlayStation. Nintendo did a fantastic job of what it seemed like every single month was a must-have game you needed for the Nintendo Switch, and made it like an event at the end of every single month. It was a good year for those companies in terms of publishing. What about Microsoft? And that's the thing. That's the big scar this year when it comes to Microsoft in 2017 was they didn't really have a killer app. They didn't really have a lot in terms of publishing power. They had Halo Wars in February, and that's about it to me. There wasn't really enough out there to say, hey, you see, this is why you need an Xbox. There wasn't enough deals. There weren't enough, games that actually said, this is why you need to buy an Xbox. For me, if you were coming to me in February or March going, should I buy an Xbox or a PlayStation or maybe this new thing Switch? It would be up to the PlayStation or the Switch at that very moment, because to me, the future of the Xbox brand, I didn't know where it was honestly going. But the one thing I do want to applaud Microsoft on, sure, games were slim picking. The one thing I do want to say is how they talk to us as the consumer, as the customer. That's one thing I really have to applaud Microsoft on doing. Some of the changes, some things that they implemented onto their system is amazing. Like, things like Game Pass, $9.99 a month for this backlog catalog of all things Xbox. That's awesome. That's awesome if you're a developer, a publisher. That means, games like Mass Effect, games like, Dragon Age. All these games are now have longer tails. Now, if you like that game so much, you could go ahead and you can buy that game. That's amazing. I love Game Pass, and I hope it works. That Netflix style of video games is something that I have a lot of hope for. The one awesome thing that I have to applaud Microsoft on is how it treats return policies. Remember, right now, Xbox is the only company, if you don't like a game, just purely on the fact that you don't like something you bought, you have about 2 hours to actually go, you know what? I tried Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm just not getting into it. And then you could actually go ahead and return it. That's not something you can even do with physical games. That's awesome. That is something you can only do on Xbox. The way how they've talked about crossplay is amazing, right? They go, hey, listen, we want you to play with your PC friends, your Nintendo friends, and hey, if Sony comes around with it, we don't mind if you play with them too, because overall it helps the communities that are those games. It helps Overwatch, it helps Rainbow Six Siege, it helps those indie games by making a longer lasting community, because not everybody's segmented, everybody is now in the same ecosystem. That's awesome. And you see, they put their money where their mouth is with games like, Minecraft. If you're mobile, if you're PC, if you're on console, Xbox and Nintendo Switch, or soon to be Nintendo Switch, you can all play with each other. That is awesome. You see that also with Rocket League as well. That's awesome. That is something that I feel like a lot of people are looking at and they're going, wow, you know what? Xbox is doing actually a lot of awesome things, while Sony's kind of actually in the background going, yeah, we don't want to do any of that. And it kind of makes like, well, is the grass greener on the other side? So what they didn't do with games, they have done with communication. It seems like these little battles that Xbox has been winning when it comes to communicating with their audience is amounting to something. To think that the Xbox One X, and sure, it's still early in its lifespan, is doing as well as it has, that's really awesome. Like, I mean, I really love how they rolled out this thing for the most part. There were that span of a month where we didn't know what was going on, but nonetheless, they let, journalists actually tear this thing apart and see what's really behind, behind the curtains. That's awesome. I've never really seen that done before, other than, on a day one release. Microsoft was so confident of what they had, they said, hey, this thing ain't even out yet. Here it is. That's awesome. They learned from what was the PlayStation 4 Pro's botched entrance into this generation. They learned from it, and they really did kill it. To see pre-order sales as good as they have been, that's really awesome. To see sales of this thing as good as they have, to see Microsoft talk about this thing as a successful console is amazing. And that's why, to me, yeah, Cuphead, fantastic. Forza is great, but really what has excited me about Microsoft is it seems like this year was them hitting the reset button. They understand, listen, they understand that this is not a race. This isn't a war like every, article out there assumes it is. Sony's winning. How can Microsoft get back on track? It's not about that. It's about what can we do to increase profit? What can we do to help bring people back to our ecosystem? How can we win over people again? How can we make this system like the 360 again in terms of how everybody was seemingly on our side? That's what Microsoft's really thinking about. What I love about this Microsoft is that it's not about console wars. I love when Phil Spencer goes out there and congratulates the Nintendo Switch for being what it is. There was this awesome interview with him and the Unlocked crew talking about the Nintendo Switch, him playing it going, yeah, I really like it. It's a really awesome thing. Nintendo loves to do something really different. And even when games like Horizon come out, it's his competition, and he rewards them. He goes, hey, great job, guys. This looks like a great game. That's awesome. That's what I really want to see more of. And to see Microsoft get down in the ditches and go, okay, you know what, guys? Listen, with the launch of the X, we understand what you guys want. Phil Spencer came out, I believe, a week or two after the X's release and said, be wary of the next few weeks, the next few months. We're going to start acquiring things. We're going to start buying developers. We're going to start partnering with third parties. We're going to start making our publishing branch as strong as it's ever been. And that's awesome, because I think when Microsoft is trying to do something different and they're not just relying on Halo, Gears, and Forza, that's when Microsoft, I think, truly strives. To me, I see 2018 and I see games that are different. I see games like State of Decay that get me excited. I see games like Sea of Thieves. I gotta thank Ross Miller, man. He sold me on this game. Man, I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'll be playing the alpha really soon as well. I'm really excited for that game. It's something different from Microsoft that we haven't seen before. And then seeing PUBG, this alpha, already have over 1 million copies sold in 48 hours. That's insane. This is a get for Microsoft. These things are something that I think Microsoft's building upon, that we're going to finally see a Microsoft that is not, holding on to the Master Chief's legs, and praying to God that he sells them a few more copies, that they're going out there and actually making the deals that Sony's been doing for years now, and we get competitive again. Because that's the main thing here, is I think Microsoft realizes they weren't competitive, and this is the year where they hit restart and they start getting competitive. They start making those deals, and we start seeing in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, we'll start seeing that actually pay off. So for me, though 2017 was not the best year for Microsoft, to me, it was hitting the reset button and going, you know what, 2018, I'm optimistic about. I want to see what Phil Spencer does with this company, because honestly, his leadership turned a console that was a ship sinking. He got all the water out of that ship, and now it's competent. And to see that turnaround in a few years, man deserves a fucking medal. So with that said, with all that out of the way, everybody, that's what I feel about Microsoft in 2017. what I try to do with these past 3 videos is not make it about us versus them. I really, 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 really hate the dialogue that my console's the best console, everybody else's sucks. Because that's not what Bad Bit Games is all about. To me, I own an Xbox One X, I own a PlayStation 4 Pro, I own a Nintendo Switch, and the only reason why I get really critical of these companies is because I want them to do the best that I feel like they're able to do. That's why, because I bought their hardware, so god damn it, I want the best software that could come with it. That's why I get so critical. But to me, when I see comments like the PlayStation's the best and this console sucks, is not why Bad Bit Games is here. To me, it's all about the dialogue. It's all about the conversation. So for me, I want to know what you guys thought of this year that was Microsoft in 2017. Where do you think they're headed in 2018? You could be blunt, but please, let's try to be positive here. Where do you think they're going in 2018? For me, I hope only awesome places. And I hope that with all the consoles out there, because I love them all. So with all that said and all that out of the way, everybody, I want to thank you all for making 2017 the best year for Bad Bit Games. It has been amazing. And I feel like the past few months, ever since I think like October, we've just been on a roll. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for making this possible. And I want to say that it continues. We're going to be taking the Christmas week off. We'll be back in the beginning of January, and you're going to see some things are going to be new, improved, and I hope you like some of the things that we have in store for you. So everybody, keep your wits about you and have a nice one.